Meeting of council order for Monday, October 16th, 2023. Approve of the agenda, please. Council Norbury.
That the October 16th, 2023 regular council meeting agenda be approved as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Dussault. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of minutes for October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councilor Dussault.
That council adopts the October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Clickash. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. October 4th, 2023 special council meeting minutes. Take the recommendation, please. Councilor Dussault.
That council adopts the October 4th, 2023 special council meeting minutes as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Norbury. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. October 10th, 2023 special council meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councilor Norbury.
To give Councilor Dussault a break, that council adopts the October 10th, 2023 special council meeting minutes as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Noxana. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes, council? Staff?
None, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Consent agenda, recommendation. Council Norbury.
That all items in the October 16th, 2023 consent agenda be moved for discussion. I'd like to discuss it.
Okay, seconder. Councilor Clickash. All in favor? Carried. Council Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So we have a letter from the Vice President of the Snowmobile Association. They're looking for some outhouses and usage of the parking lot area. So I'm happy to accommodate them. I don't think it's a large ask. I look forward to the event. So I would like to make a motion that we provide the TR Ridge Riders Snowmobile Association with 2 outhouses and the use of the Legion parking lot for November 5th, 2023.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Seconder, Councilor Dussault. Discussion. Councilor Julik.
Because I'm not sure with the TR, with the Legion parking lot, I guess what I would be looking for is that they've, I'm guessing they have already, but that they've okayed this with the Legion to make sure they aren't doubling up on events there.
Yeah, so the Legion parking lot is owned by the district, but I would think they've reached out. My understanding, I talked to the president, the vice president, my apologies, late last week. So my understanding, they made it aware. Okay, any more discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Okay, bylaws, permissive tax exemption bylaw number 728, 2023. Report dated October 16th from Chief Financial Officer presenting the permissive tax exemption bylaw number 728, 2023 for 3 readings. Councillor Julik.
The council gives first reading to District of Tumbler Ridge permissive tax exemption bylaw number 728, 2023.
Seconder, Councillor Norbury. Discussion. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Second recommendation, Councillor Norbury.
That council gives second reading to the District of Tumbler Ridge permissive tax exemption bylaw number 728, 2023.
Seconder, Councillor Noxana. Discussion. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Third recommendation, Councillor Dussault.
That council gives third reading to District of Tumbler Ridge permissive tax exemption bylaw number 728, 2023.
Seconder, Councillor Clickash. Discussion. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw number 729, 2023. Report dated October 16th, 2023 from Deputy Corporate Officer presenting the Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw number 729, 2023 for 3 readings. Council Norbury?
That council gives first reading to District of Tumbler Ridge Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw number 729, 2023.
Seconder, Councillor Hoffman. Discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Second recommendation, Councillor Julik.
The council gives second reading to the District of Tumbler Ridge Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw number 729, 2023.
Seconder, Councillor Noxana. Discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Third recommendation, Councillor Dussault.
That council gives third reading to District of Tumbler Ridge Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw number 729, 2023.
Seconder, Councillor Norbury. Discussion? Okay, my question back to staff, just an overview. So I've actually asked my questions to the CAO. My concern was that this just gives them the rights to borrow without coming before council. That's not true. But my thing is, without having a gallery here, I think sometimes when we see these bylaws come through, there's no understanding why. So can we just get an overview with the whole concept of the bylaws?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does the Chief Financial Officer want to comment, or do you want me to comment? Okay, thank you.
The revenue anticipation bylaw is a bylaw that's put in place so that if ever there's a chance, such as with a grant opportunity, council has to front pay the money for those large capital expenditures before the claim funds are received. This way, they can fund this with going out and doing some temporarily borrowing, and has to be refunded with the claim funds as soon as it's received. The borrowing bylaw would require under Section 175 that the council approve the short-term borrowing. So this just makes sure that even if there was a situation where, say, a check went $10 over and we were in sort of like a line of credit, this is what's giving the district a line of credit. But that being said, it can't have any borrowing without council's approval.
Thank you. Okay, any more discussion? Council Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So thank you for that explanation, Ms. Weiner. To build on that, like, we don't anticipate ever having to utilize this bylaw, as we can borrow from our own general reserve fund, excuse me.
Mr. Woodward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's correct. And everything that the Chief Financial Officer, it's a technical requirement by the province to have a bylaw like this in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. New business, proposed water user rate increase for 2024 and 2025. Report dated October 16, 2023, from the Chief Financial Officer regarding proposed water usage rate increase for 2024 and 2025. Councillor Julik.
The council directs staff to draft an amendment to the water utility rate bylaw to increase water rates for 2024 and 2025.
Seconder, Councillor Dussault. Discussion. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So I just want to make a comment on it. I mean, this may be the first time some people are seeing this, but you know, it makes, at this point in time, we're not keeping up with the costs that the water utility is. We need to keep up with that. So it may seem like a large percentage change, but we do definitely need to have this come into consolidation so that we can be paying for what we're using. So, you know, I support it.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. Also, just a comment to expand. I don't like this either, but there is no other legal form for us to fund this. Like, just want people to know that for water and sewer usage, we have to pay for it directly, and this is pretty much the only way that we're going to get anywhere near covering our costs going forward and doing the upgrades that we do need. So I too will be supporting it.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So before we move on, since we're on the discussion of water rate increases, We're, as far as I read the report, we're just charging a flat rate across everybody. Like for myself, it seems like that's a quick and easy, simple way, but I believe that there's a better way to do that. I'd like us to look at a user rate schedule. You know, like how much people are using and charge based on that versus a flat rate. It may be a way that some people don't have to, some low water users don't have to pay for some high water users. It seems like an appropriate way to do that. So I have a motion prepared, but should I read that? Okay, thank you. And I can email this out to staff, so. That staff prepare a report on the costs of adding water usage meters across all classes. So that's residential, commercial, industrial. And the rate changes based upon usage based on charges versus a flat rate system.
Mr. Woodward, I'm just curious if staff's captured that.
Have we captured that?
Councilor Norbury?
Would you please repeat it again, please?
I'll go a little slower, sorry. I'll bring it closer. That staff prepare a report on the costs of adding water usage meters across all classes, residential, commercial, industrial, and the rate changes upon usage-based charges versus a flat rate system.
Excuse me, Your Worship, would you put the word in consider in there? Consider
Where?
where you're saying to add the rates, to consider the rates?
Thank you. As amended?
There's no seconder.
Okay. So it would be, and consider the rate changes upon usage-based charges. Once it's seconded, I'll give a little explanation.
No problem. Just want to confirm, Mr. Woodward, that staff has got that?
Thank you. Deputy Director Corporate Services, are you clear on that now? Can you read that back for us? Okay, we've got it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take a seconder. Councilor Noxana. Discussion, Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So my interest lies within, I know in some other municipalities, like people are charged how much they use. And our current municipality, we get charged a flat rate. And I believe it's based upon the distance from the main water source or what have you. It seems like, we can do a little better on this. And I don't want to pick on any particular class. I'd just like to see, people pay their fair share. I think this is the way to do that.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Hoffman?
Thank you, Mayor. Don't expect staff being prepared to answer this, but as I understood our system, that we have 2 productive wells far exceeding whatever our demands are as it stands right now, far exceeding. If that's incorrect, that would matter to this. I'm looking at this as really as an infrastructure problem, not so much a usage problem for where we are right now. If we have more water than the town needs, reducing people's rates based on water usage doesn't change the fact that we still need to fund the infrastructure changes like sewer, like new piping, like pumps, whatever it is that we need. So if that's correct, I'm wondering if staff's prepared to answer that, and if not, that's fine for now. Then we can go with the way of a report.
Thank you. Mr. Woodward?
I think there's, excuse me, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. There's about 4 complications that come with what we're describing here. From my point of view, or a simplistic point of view, it's one is that we would have to do a feasibility study on residential meters. And we'd have to do that review, which would include commercial and then also industrial as well. And then combining with that, we'd have to do a calculation and a formula on what how often we would check those meters. And then we would have to do a review of what it would cost for the manpower to do that as well. So there are some significant costs which would be attributed to this proposal, and it would be like a mini feasibility study, and so we could definitely bring that forward for our budget meeting. And as far as having sufficient water for the community, I think possibly Mr. Bradley can answer that question. That's a little bit out of my realm. Mr. Bradley, would you be willing to discuss that part?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. This, we don't have an issue with our water supply as far as quantity of water for the community. I mean, that doesn't seem to be what the issue is. You're looking more for usage throughout the community? Correct?
I'm not going to speak for Councillor Norbury, but to my mind is if there is sufficient water generated, that it's not even close, that the entire community is fully satisfied all the time, that doing a feasibility study and the costs associated with switching over and the loss of revenue when we start measuring with people cutting back because now they're paying for it per unit, I don't know if that's worth it right now. So that's just it. If all industrial, all commercial, all residential are always satisfied and our issue is not having enough water around at this point in time, I mean, that might change in the not too distant future with how things are going, then it seems a more appropriate time. Because my concern is we push it forward. That is very much, I agree, a way a lot of places are going to reduce their usage. But it doesn't speak to rebuilding the infrastructure. That's a sunk capital cost. That's not a per unit going through cost that we would be trying to deal with. So my inclination, and I'm more than open to changing my mind, is to leave the current structure in place, get up to speed on our system, and then start talking about what are we going to do 5 years or 10 years down the road, then do it right now, especially when I'm hearing on how much work would go into a feasibility study. So that's just where I am right now. But that answers my question. Thank you.
Councillor Julik and Councillor Norbury.
The way I understand it, we already have water meters on commercial water. I don't know what happened with that project a long time ago. What I understood when I was at UBCM, the system was such that it was computer generated, check it out, see how much it costs for water. Besides that, I don't know much beyond that, so I'm okay if we were to continue to look. My other concern and why I'm in favor of the motion is that we have businesses in our community who sell water, as far as I understand, and so in that regard, we are giving them an unfair advantage over other businesses. So I would think that we are against a community charter or something in there that probably shouldn't be. I don't know community charter, but I imagine there's something we're doing that isn't right. So I will support this going forward, and just for that reason to look at what it would cost for us to start exploring it this way. I'm at this point more inclined towards business rather than residential, but I'll support this motion for that reason.
Thank you. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. The reason why I want it to be across all classes is that so that it has doesn't impact one group unfairly. We have home-based businesses that may be utilizing a different amount. But to Councillor Hoffman's comments about, we should be looking at exploring the costs of infrastructure replacement. I believe this could probably help us. The larger users will be utilizing the service more. And in my mind, the more you use it, the more you're responsible for replacement, right? And I understand that water usage cannot be applied to the replacement costs. It needs to go to operational costs. So we can't cross lines there. And to Councillor Julik, I believe, she's got the intent of what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for us to go out for a feasibility study. I'd like to know what that would cost. What would the cost be of the meters, right? So with the very preliminary discussions about what that would look like, I'm not looking to jump in 2 feet. Let's just dip our toes in. What would this cost? Because if it's going to cost us $200,000 for a feasibility study, that doesn't make any sense. So, thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Norbury. Any more discussion? So I guess my question back to Councilor Norbury would be, we're not looking at holding up the water use rate increase that we just approved. Councilor Norbury?
Nope. I think that this project that I'm proposing is going to be a long-term thing. This could be years from now that we'd finally get a resolution. But at this point in time, this is what we have in front of us. And I supported it when we passed it. I just think we have a better way to do it in the future.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure of that. So if we can just have that motion read back out, please. Staff? They don't have it, you can. Mr. Woodward?
Yes, thank you. Deputy Director of Corporate Services, can you read that back?
Okay,
Okay.
that's not a problem. I'll just get Councilor Norbury to reread it out. No problem. Nope, no problem. And he'll email it to you, so. Councilor
I
Norbury?
have the email up ready to go. I understand it's a challenge when motions are made off the fly, but that staff prepare a report on the costs of adding water usage meters across all classes, residential, commercial, industrials, and the consideration of the rate changes upon usage-based charges versus a flat rate system.
Thank you. Okay, any more discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 9.2, proposed sewer user rate increase for 2024 and 2025. Report dated October 16th, 2023 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding proposed sewer user rate increase for 2024 and 2025. Recommendation, please. Councillor Dussault?
That council directs staff to draft an amendment to the sewer utility rate bylaw to increase sewer rates for 2024 and 2025.
Seconder, Councillor Noxana. Discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. Canada BC Safe Restart COVID Funds. Report dated October 16th, 2023 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding Canada BC Safe Restart COVID Funds. Recommendation. Councillor Julik.
The council receives the Canada BC Safe Restart COVID Funds report for discussion.
Seconder, Councillor Noxana. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Councillor Julik, did you want to start?
I guess I was just looking for clarification because I just think there's a typo. It says we're not able to meet the 2022 deadline and that all the funds be allocated to be used, I'm assuming, by December 31st, 2021 is what it says. I'm guessing that's supposed to say 2024? 2020, okay. I see that Ms. Weiner has an answer for us.
Mr. Woodward?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Mrs. Weiner, I'd like to respond to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, through the mayor, to Councillor Julik. The funds that were received originally for the Safe Restart were intended to be fully expended by the end of 2022. It was realized in 2021 that these funds were not likely to all be expended by 2022, so by the end of December 31st, 2021, they said to allocate all of the funds for 2022 to be expended afterwards. There is no end date because the funds were all allocated December 31st to be spent in 2022 and ongoing until such time as they were gone.
Okay, thank you. Follow up?
So I guess I would just say then it just continues to go forward and you're just needing a motion at this point for it to roll over every year? Because I'm just seeing here that it just says that we could choose to use these funds to operate costs or possibly allocate them to the entrance project. So is that what staff is looking for today?
Mr. Woodward?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor and Council, Chief Financial Officer is going to respond to that.
Through the mayor to Councillor Julik, the intent of this, the council had requested a report come back letting you know what the balance was, what the amount was. The money was allocated to community services. It was originally intended to be using for checking passports and all the additional cleaning costs, those things that was associated. Well, now that we're a few years past COVID, it could be utilized 1 year to offset, or a couple years to offset all general operating costs, or it could be utilized for something like the entrance that is being done, that it would have screens, et cetera, to ensure that it met some new standards. So that's the discussion points that council has, or any other project that council may have that would fit sort of under the criteria.
Thank you. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. Thank you, Ms. Weiner, for that explanation. My only question, I guess, since we're going down this road, is how much of the potential entrance project is being utilized through our capital grant-based funding? Oh my goodness, that was a horrible way to explain it. But you know that the gas money, for example, that we get, that we can only use for gas tax, right? Is that project already being utilized? And the reason why I ask that is because that money needs to be spent specifically on capital items. I have no problems putting this towards the entrance project, as long as we're not taking away from something that can only be used for that. If that's the case, I'd be fine leaving it in the general expenditures for the community center.
Mr. Woodward?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor and Council. So, a very good point. But we'll bring that back for budget review, and we'll sharpen our pencils and make sure that everybody understands where these monies are going to be allocated to. And Chief Financial Officer will have that in her report in the budget.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any more discussion on that? Councillor Hoffman?
Thank you, Mayor. So is there any reason to allocate it? Like, would a motion to allocate it towards the entrance project be of any use at this point in time?
We can. My thing is, I think there was a question asked if there's gas tax being used for it and stuff like that. And I think that needs to come through the budget because I'm unaware. I can't remember. Mr. Woodward?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief Financial Officer, I'd like to respond to that.
So this could come forward as part of the budget process with recommendations of where the COVID funds could be utilized for the project. Gas tax, right now, the only item in the budget right now is to do the detailed design of the entrance. There was nothing put forward for the further, so there was only the funding for doing the design work, so the construction has not been decided yet. I also wanted to mention that gas tax funds can be used for any capital project. So that is available for other projects, including water and sewer. It's one of those rare ones that can be used for any fund, just to keep that in mind.
Thank you.
To that, the question from Councillor Hoffman, it's not necessary at this point in time because we're going to be working with the budget in a short while and council will be determining all of the approvals that's going to come with that.
Perfect. Thank you. Any more discussion from council? Councillor Julik?
I guess, and, Mr. Bento probably could give me a better idea, and even Councillor Norbury. What I see different in other communities than what we have here are permanent installations for hand sanitizer, things like that. So I would like to see maybe something like that looked at within the spirit of the COVID requirements. I don't see COVID going away forever and ever, and I don't think having hand sanitizer or something along those lines to help protect staff and our community is such a bad thing. So I'm also okay to have that go back to staff and see what they say. Like, I mean, the folks at the community center, what they would like to maybe see different. What I saw during the COVID, like when we were in COVID, was just the containers that could be moved around versus what you would see at a hospital, for example, with things mounted to a wall and you could go in and have that available. So, I would like to maybe see the option of that I'm okay to leave it for budget discussions, but that'd be something that I would be looking for going forward.
Okay, thank you. I think staff will bring forward. I mean, it's no different than the drawings of the entranceway. Council hasn't even seen those. Okay, any more discussion? Okay. Moving on to 9.4, road maintenance equipment budget reallocation. Report dated October 16th, 2023, from the Director of Operations and Infrastructure regarding road maintenance equipment budget reallocation. Recommendation. Councilor Norbury?
That council approves the moving of the remaining amount of $20,000 from unused capital funding to purchase a line painter.
Okay, I'll second that. Discussion. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakaka. I just want to say I really like to see this report in front of us. The department wants to purchase a new item, and they've managed to find ways to have cost savings within their budgets. So I think this is great. Fully support it. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, and my comments are as we, at the PMP, and it's further on the agenda, is the summer road maintenance policy. Need a line painter if we want to see them continue on with where they went this year, so fully support it. Any more discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Development variance permit approval, 140 Birch Ave, report dated October 16th, 2023, from the Director of Protective Services, Fire Chief, regarding development variance permit approval for 140 Birch Ave. Recommendation, Councillor Julich.
That council approves the development variance permit application submitted for 140 Birch Avenue, Lot 66, Plan PGP 28289, and that council directs administration to file the permit with the Land Titles Office.
Seconder, Councillor Noxana. Discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. NDIT grant application support, New Shop Local Initiative, report dated October 16th, 2023, from the Director of Economic and Community Development regarding the NDIT grant application support, New Shop Local Initiative. Recommendation. Councillor Julich?
That council receives, just a minute. That council supports administration's grant for the new local shop initiative through the Northern Development Initiative Trust to create a new shop local website and associated marketing activities.
Okay, seconder, Councillor Dussault. Discussion? My question went back to staff would be, has this not already been done previously? So I'd be curious on why we would be doing a new website. I believe there was something a few years ago, the same initiative, Shop Local campaign. I don't want to say it was done by the chambers. It was done in community because I partaked in it. So I'd just be curious of that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, the Director of Economic Development can provide some more information for you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. If you're thinking of the Love Tumbler Ridge website, that was a separate program through NDIT that businesses actually had to buy into it. Other than that, that I know of, there isn't another shop local website such as this. We have a business directory, but it's sitting currently on our old Invest Tumbler Ridge website, and this would be much more substantive and include all of the businesses in Tumbler Ridge, not just the select few that were in the previous program.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm not talking about We Love Tumbler Ridge campaign. There was a Shop Local campaign, I believe it was either last year or the year before, done by the chamber. Maybe there was no website attached to that? But has anybody reached out to the chamber? I know we had this discussion when I came in and did the agenda review. I just don't want to make sure we're not doing it twice over. Is be my only concern. Mr. Woodward?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, this is a little bit of an additional one. It's not the twice over. So this specific grant is just under $10,000, and it will go a long way to assist with the website.
Thank you. Councillor Noxana?
Thank you. I'm in support of this motion. It's a grant we can receive. Sorry, I'm not speaking into it. It's a grant we can apply for to receive to offset costs. There's no money we have to put into this ourselves, so it's definitely something that I'm in favor of.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. REDIP grant application, investment readiness and economic development strategy, report dated October 16th, 2023, from the Director of Economic and Community Development regarding REDIP grant application, investment readiness and economic development strategy. Councillor Julich.
That council approves the grant application by resolution for the Investment Readiness and Economic Development Strategy project through the Rural Economic Diversification and Infrastructure Program, REDIP, up to $100,000.
Seconder, Councilor Snowberry. Discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Women's U18 BC Hockey Team Event in Tumbler Ridge. Report dated October 16, 2023, from the Director of Community Service and Facilities regarding Women's U18 BC Hockey Team Event in Tumbler Ridge. I'm going to read the motion that council approves up to $4,500 from the council's initiative budget for the Women's U18 BC Hockey Team Event in Tumbler Ridge. So I've changed it from, before we get a seconder, from administration's budget to council's initiative budget. Take a seconder. Councilor Snowberry, discussion. And the reason I did that is, I don't know when it was, but when we first had this brought forward to council, there was $15,000 that council had approved. So to me, I would rather see it come from that than it come from administration's budget. I'm not saying administration maybe doesn't have some budget there, but I think, to me, when this is something that we already put money to the side, that we use that. Councilor Snowberry?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So I support the recommendation on the floor because I really appreciate the idea of exposing our youth to the next level of hockey. Speaking with families that are involved in hockey, you sort of see like a drain or a drop off in players' interest as the older they get because the next level of hockey isn't there in Tumbler Ridge. And I mean, it is what it is. We're a smaller community. But being able to be exposed to this may have them stick with their interests. And I think it's great that we're able to have a prestigious group here. The only comment that I'd like to make is that I know they don't have a team to play against. Maybe we can approach them about having, say, like the Dawson Creek Canucks or something come in to play. I don't know if they want to play like that, but either way, in support. Thanks.
Thanks, Councilor Snowberry. So yeah, I totally great on staff to keep pushing this forward. So I had reached out to some representatives in out of not Hockey Canada, but the committee in Dawson Creek when we realized that we were not going to see something happen here in Tumbler Ridge, just from timing constraints and stuff. So it was I reached out and just asked if there's anything we could do. And I mean, I'm going to mention it that we have McKenna Howe, a long-time young resident that grew up in Tumbler Ridge, will be here on that November 4th. And I think that's very, very important to see a young lady that grew up here, went to minor hockey here, and through our minor hockey association with some of the coaching and board representatives. So to me, I think it's great to see one of our own come back and actually be able to do a practice here and stuff like that. So again, I was at the rink this weekend when we had the Dawson Canucks here in town do an exhibition game with Fort St. John, well attended by the residents of Tumbler Ridge. Hats off to staff. I think you guys did an amazing job down there, having the staff on there and stuff like that. But I think that's great to see that other communities are realizing we have ice available in Tumbler Ridge and they're willing to come here. And our residents are willing to go out and support it. So I think it's great. I don't want to put another motion on the floor, but I'd like to ask staff. So I understand there's approximately 30 individuals coming up. So obviously players and coaches, but also parents will be coming with those youth. I'm wondering if we have the opportunity, and maybe it has to be a little bit of money put to the side after this, but to have some bags together, just with some stuff from Tumbler Ridge. Is that a possible thing?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Bento, would you like to respond, please?
Mayor Council, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We can look into that and see. As far as I know, we have 30 people total because they're coming by bus all the way from Dawson, right? So it's going to be only the players and the coach at this point. So we can definitely look into putting some bags together.
Okay, appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate that. And I'll be honest, I imagine we'll see some parents. Parents will drive up on their own or whatever. I know this amount here is to make sure they're fed and bussed up to Tumbler Ridge. So again, thanks to staff for putting it forward. I'll support the motion. Any more discussion? Call the question. Oh, Mr. Woodward?
Sorry, you're putting the motion forward for the U18?
Yeah, it's already been put on and seconded.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. So my question back to staff would be, do you need another approval for unbudgeted funds for these bags? Or would that be administration?
Well, we can do it either way, Mr. Mayor. I think it's appropriate for council because this is their initiative to show that they're giving that extra support. I think it's an excellent idea.
Thank you. So I'll put another motion forward that we put up to $2,000 towards bags of articles for the District of Tunbridge, or with District of Tunbridge stuff on it, whatever you want to say it. Promotional, thank you. That's why we have Act Dev here. Seconder, Councillor Noxana. Discussion, and it's going to start before I go to Councillor Norbury. I don't want to tell you what to put in there, but I'm not looking for pens and pencils. If we can just, and it's just to me, I've looked up the UBC hockey team already. I've already looked it up. There is 2 individuals on that team that are not from the South, that are not from down in Victoria or Vancouver and Richmond area. There's only 2 youth females on that team. One is obviously McKenna Howe, and the other one, I can't remember the lady's name, but I think she's from, I'm not going to say it because I'll probably get it wrong and I'll be held that against me. So there's only 2 people that are not from the South, and I think that's very, very important that we try to advertise the community of Tunbridge also to the parents. So hopefully with these youth taking these bags out, people want to come back and stuff like that. So that's my idea, is actually to gain some win over the tourism part of it. Any more discussion, Councilor Norbury?
No, just wanted to head back.
Nice try. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Good job. 9.9 TR 28 Grant and Aid Policy for Adoption. Report dated October 16, 2023 from the Deputy Corporate Officer seeking the adoption of the TR 28 Grant and Aid Policy. Recommendation. Councillor Dussault.
That council adopts the TR 28 Grant and Aid Policy as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Noxana. Discussion. Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I had when I went over this is communications point B, about halfway down our page. And just to confirm, that word is the actual text format that's the standard now going forward. I'm not sure if it could be. It's just been long enough that I wouldn't presume that it's the standard format anymore.
Can you just give me a page number, please?
Page number 53 of 59. Communication is about halfway down the page in item B.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were already in the policy, so I was...
No, this is just the overview here. This is the form of communications that we'll be putting out, and I just want to be sure that that's the standard form now. I'm not sure if there's a text format or a Google format or what makes the most sense.
Thank you. Mr. Woodward?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor and Council, yeah, that is the standard format.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. TR 40 Fee for Service Policy for Adoption. Report dated October 16, 2023 from the Deputy Corporate Officer seeking the adoption of the TR 40 Fee for Service Policy. Recommendation, please, Councillor Dussault.
That council adopts the TR 40 Fee for Service Policy as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Clickash. Discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. TR 56, Asset Retirement Obligation Policy for Adoption. Report dated October 16, 2023 from the Deputy Corporate Officer seeking the adoption of the TR 56 Assessed Retirement Obligation Policy. Recommendation, please. Councillor Dussault.
That council adopts the TR 58 Assessment Retirement Obligation Policy as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Clickash. Point of order. Councillor Dussault, or Councillor Julik?
It's to present the TR 56, not 58.
Sorry, my apologies.
So we could just get an amendment to that.
Oh.
Just need an amendment.
Amendment to the TR, instead of TR 58, it should be TR 56.
Second on that amendment. Councillor Noxana, any discussion on the amendment? Call the question on the amended motion. Carried. Any discussion on the amended motion? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Carried. 9.2 12, PW 18, Summer Roads Maintenance Policy for Adoption, report dated October 16, 2023, from the Deputy Corporate Officer seeking the adoption of PW 18, Summer Roads Maintenance Policy. Councilor Norbury.
The council adopts the PW 18 Summer Road Maintenance Policy as presented.
Seconder. Councilor Clickash. Discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. Schedule of meetings. Council see any concerns? Just a reminder about the special meeting next Monday, the 23rd, and then let's talk on the 25th. Okay, and then obviously we can talk about it, but earlier in November is the strategic planning workshop that's been set up. No schedule issues with staff?
None, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Notice of motion, invitation to West Moberly and Soto First Nations to the zoning bylaw workshop. Notice of motion brought forward by Councillor Julik at the October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting. Councillor Julik.
Sorry, I'm just looking for my motion. It's going to be a little bit different than this, though. It's going to be the same idea. You just need me to spit it out. Let me just find it. Sorry, I was cruising through my... Thank you for your patience.
Okay, one second. I'm just going to move on. Can you vary the agenda?
Yeah, I'm just looking. Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you for that. Where is it? It's not on here. Oh, there it is. It is there. That council sends a letter to invite West Moberly First Nations and Soto First Nations to the zoning bylaw workshops.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Norbury. Discussion. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So I was recently informed that this is something that is standard procedure in municipalities to invite stakeholders from around a municipality. And with that, knowing that both of these nations have potential interests in a municipality, I think is a good idea, and I support the recommendation.
Thank you. So I guess my question back to staff would be, when we initiated the zoning bylaw works information where they reached out to, I would imagine all of our First Nations, including Kelly Lake, McLeod Lake, and any other group that would have concerns would have been partaked in. Mr. Woodward?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor and Council. The Director of Corporate Services will respond to that.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, part of the process when we first started, the zoning bylaw was to invite the stakeholders. We invited all our First Nations neighbors and far-reaching First Nations groups. I believe we also invited McLeod Lake, Westmall, Soto, Kelly Lake, and I don't remember the other ones, but there seemed to be a list. And of course, this took place, if you recall, when you were first elected to council. This had already been initiated, so the ball was already rolling with the zoning bylaw review. And so those stakeholders were invited already, as well as industry and the schools. There were other stakeholders as well, so there's a list that the consultants that we reached out to participate in the engagement process. And then, of course, there was council, there was the public engagement as well. With regards to a zoning bylaw workshop, as far as I know, there won't be another zoning bylaw workshop per se, because we are already over budget with the zoning, with our zoning bylaw consultants, and the work is moving along. And when we got the quotes for the zoning bylaw, it was during COVID, and the consultants sent in their quotes based on virtual meetings and doing the virtual engagement. and whatnot, a lot of it. And so they've exhausted their budget, and of course, council had requested in person as opposed to the virtual, so that kind of chewed up the budget there a little bit as well. I don't know, what else should I say about this? We're getting ready. We can certainly send the draft to our First Nations to have them take a look at it and to offer any suggestions or comment from them at that time.
Thank you. Councillor Julicht and Councillor Hoffman.
Thanks very much for that explanation. That definitely helps. I guess for me, what kind of precipitated me asking for this specifically is because I knew that West Moberly and Soto both had TLE interests in our area. And so while I understand that that could be held up, somebody told me, and I don't know how smart they are about it, but that process hasn't quite finished. I feel like that process is going to happen before we are going to be looking at another zoning bylaw. So I felt like, and I feel like maybe we still need to send a specific invitation to them noting about the TLE and that we're cognizant of that. I'm okay not. I don't know maybe what is, and not so much, let me back this up, sorry. For the open house that we are intending to have, where when council, what I understand is our next steps are we're going to get a draft plan, we're going to approve it to the draft, then have an open house again at community center to invite everybody in, and wanted to make sure that Westmo and Soto, specifically due to the TLE interests, would be aware of that happening.
Thank you for that. Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. I have to admit, I'm aware of this being a possibility, but I have no clue of what impact it would be on our zoning if this does go forward with TLE. Are we talking about that? What exactly are the rights? Are they provincial? Are they local? Are we going to have to change our zoning based on it? Are they going to have to conform to whatever our zoning is? Is this essentially premature that we're doing a zoning plan and with this TLE is outstanding? That's, I guess, question one. And just to be clear, when you say send them a draft of the zoning, that's like final draft, right? Not as yeah, okay, thank you.
Mr. Woodward, just on his first question, maybe Councillor Hoffman, you can repeat your first question? Okay, let me try to make that more concise. With the TLE considerations of these two nations, is that going to have a direct impact on our zoning and sort of looking at it as what would govern? Would it be a provincial or federal rules applying, or would our local municipal zoning rules apply if that were to go to fruition?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To Councillor Hoffman and Council, the zoning bylaw, when it comes forward, we'll definitely notify the First Nations again that if they want to review it, and we'll make sure that they get a review. And they've had more than opportunity to come in and look at it and review the information. So that's an important element, an important step, and they recognize that as well. Once the zoning bylaw is adopted, it's always subject to whatever is within that bylaw. So if there's a TLE designated area in the zoning bylaw, they'll have the opportunity of speaking to it, right? It's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. To expand upon Mr. Woodward's comments to Councillor Hoffman, when we went through this process with the last council, Mayor, maybe you could say I'm wrong or right there, but no, I'm right. From what I understand, speaking with their representatives, their plan was to follow our OCP. So like they don't want to come in and completely change what we got going on. So for example, with the TLE interests in the 100-acre woods, 46-acre woods, they were planning to follow our OCP. And that holds true for the interests outside of our direct residential zones. So, I mean, that was a conversation. Are they provincially or legislatively required to follow it? I couldn't tell you, but I know last discussions, they were willing to follow what we had in place.
Yeah. So I guess my thoughts are is if we've already had them and obviously engaged with them, and if they didn't have any at that point have any input, I don't know if it would change if we sent them a letter. And I just know how busy they can be, and I just don't want to, I don't think it holds us up, but I mean, if maybe we wait till as the process goes through with the zoning, and then send them the draft or whatever, and see if there's any engagement from their side. Councillor Julik?
Yeah, that works for me. I didn't realize the background information, and so in the future, maybe, well, I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal for us to have the conversation here tonight, but I'm absolutely okay to defeat this motion and have the regular process go forward.
Okay. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalic. With your explanation and staff's explanation, I don't feel that we need to vote in favor of this, as this is already processed, and all of our partners are invited, so thanks.
Okay. Any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is defeated. Administrative support to South Peace Health Service Society. Notice of motion brought forward from Councillor Norbury at the October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalic. That the District of Tumbler Ridge provides up to 10 hours of administrative support per month to the South Peace Health Services Society.
Seconder, Councillor Julik. Discussion, Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalic. I wanted to give an explanation to council as to why I'm asking for this. So the South Peace Health Services Society is a non-profit organization that is volunteer run. The society has been through multiple iterations of the board, mostly due to the administrative, the workload that comes with running a patient accommodation house, locum house, and carriage house. What I'm asking for from the District of Tumbler Ridge is someone to help create agendas, keep track of our minutes, maybe follow up with correspondence. The work of the society still needs to remain within the society. I'm just looking for that administrative stuff as needed. Thanks.
Okay, more discussion. I guess my couple of questions I have, Councillor Norbury. Have we reached out? Did you reach out to staff before you brought the notice of motion forward to make sure we had capacity? Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalic. Yes, I did. I brought it forward to, yes. And they felt at that time that it could be incorporated into workload. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Julik.
I guess what I'm looking for, some clarification if this will be ongoing or if this is going to be, ongoing, like indefinitely, just if it's, yeah.
I guess before I go to Councillor Norbury, and can't speak for the society or that, but my thing is if council wants to go this way, we could put as a pilot project or something like that we're willing to do it for 4 months or 5 months, and then get feedback to make sure that it's working what they've seen that it was required for, and it's not over it. I guess my question, and I have another one after this, but that would be my thing, is we could use it as a pilot project to see. My thing is when I look at the organization itself and Poultry House and that, it is for the other town residents, for Tumbler Ridge, Chatwin, Hudson Hope and stuff. So, Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalic. I don't have an issue adding an end date. I think that's appropriate, so that it isn't a blank check, essentially. Like my thoughts would be a year until our next AGM. One of the concerns that I have and why I'm asking for this is that we only have a very limited number of people. One of the goals from my side is to work on board recruitment. So I'm hoping that we could get a board member that would be able to assist us in this. But at this time, I think every single person there -1 has a full-time job, and this is something secondary. So if we're looking at an end date, I'd be happy with a year, and then we can go from there.
Thank you. Councillor Julik.
So I was also wondering, does the society have a paid employee already? Everything right now is based on volunteers, even the booking and stuff of the house?
Correct. We don't have an employee. We do pay for a bookkeeping company and our auditors, obviously, but all the work currently is being done by volunteers. Yep.
It's not that I don't, I like the idea, I like the motion, and I understand where you're going with this. My thing, I'd be more in favor, and to me, it's still on there, and it's not about not voting in favor, but having a report. I mean, I'd like to see a budget amount. I mean, we say approximately 10 hours of administration per month. What's that look like for a year? Is this something better to draft a letter through us to the PRD, asking the PRD for support for the outlying communities, Chetwynd, Tumbler, Hudson Hope, Taylor, Fort St. John? It might be something that the PRD would step up to help. But if you want to use staff from the district, I don't think it's an issue from the PRD, or it could be an issue from the PRD side, but they may actually partake in funding this as well because they represent all of us in their electoral area directors. So it would be just a thought, but I mean, to me, I'd like to see an amount in front of me. I understand you say 10 hours a month, but even a report coming back from staff just telling us what that is. Councillor, do you look into Councillor Hoffman?
Yeah, I guess now that I've got a little bit more information, I feel like it would make more sense to give a dollar amount because I absolutely feel like us and Tumbler Ridge can support this. I have no problems with that at all. I think it will benefit our residents in a big way. So I really believe in the work that's there. I just wonder if there's I'm with Mayor Kakalka, if there's a different way maybe that we can do it. My concern is that, so we go ahead and we say, yeah, let's do that administrative support per month. What happens if we get shorthanded in town hall here? Then that takes away some of that support. Like I wonder if maybe there would be more of an appetite through PRD and ourselves that we have a dollar amount that the society could hire somebody to do some of that work and help out with the booking and stuff as well. Obviously, that's based on what the society's looking at, but just a thought maybe for Councillor Norbury. I'd definitely like to find a way that we can support this though, because I think I appreciate you bringing it forward, and I'd really like to find a way to support it in the best way.
Councillor Hoffman?
Thank you, Mayor. And I'm agreeing with everything I'm hearing. What I'm perceiving is that there's a crunch on that society right now. I wouldn't want to delay the support. So I think if we're open to the general support, that we give at least a 4 to 6 month lead time with administrative support, with the notion of bringing in Chetwynd, PRD, whomever else making sense, whether that's a position, whether that's spreading out administrative support, whatever that is, that gives enough time so that society has at least 40 or 60 hours of, or up to 40 to 60 hours of support in the short term, and then we can see what we can gather. Because as was stated, this is for our residents among other residents. I do not want to see this collapse under the pressure. So I'm not going to make a motion yet, but I think short term, this is what you asked for, this is what we'll give you, but let's also see what we can do going forward is reasonable at this point in time.
Thank you for that. Councillor Noxana?
Thank you. I'm in favor of spreading it out across the region, but I agree with Councillor Hoffman that this is something the society needs help with now. And I think everybody sitting in this room has sat on boards where we just needed some help. And this is a society we all want to see succeed. So I'm in favor of the motion on the floor, and then going forward, we reach out to the PRD or other communities and see if they'll help as well.
Thank you. So I got myself and then Councillor Norbury. So my thoughts are still is a report to have that amount, total amount, just so we have so we know I have no issue supporting it. I think it's, like I said, I think it's a great motion that you brought forward. And I can't speak on behalf of the other directors at the PRD, but my thing is not looking for them to support some help in Chetwynd or Taylor, is actually to put the dollars in, whether it's back to the society so they can hire somebody, or if it's an overlap here, whatever way the society would want it. And I believe you're the chair of it. You know, if it's easier, just use a district employee, so be it. But that's my only thing, is just an amount. And maybe Councillor Norbury, you have that already and just haven't shared that, or I'm not sure how indulged you've been in regards to looking for the assistance of 10 hours of a month for administrative.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. I haven't done the calculations of how much it would cost, but I mean, 10 hours, $1,000 most if our employees are making, $100 an hour, or we would bill them out. For myself, I think I would be happy with that number. I can appreciate the prudence of getting proper costs associated back, but Councillor Hoffman, thank you for speaking on my behalf. But we are in immediate need now, right? Like as it stands, we've been through. I'm the fourth chair of our society because of the amount of workload that is going on. This is something that we need soon. Yeah, I mean, I've said to the society, I will not step down because our society needs this, but our region needs this, but it's a lot of work for one person to do. So I'd appreciate something sooner rather than later. And if we want to get that cost back, that is fine. But as it stands, like the most, I don't think it's an unreasonable amount. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Hoffman, then Councillor Julik.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate you wanting to see a number before us, but if we're worried about capping it, I think we can pick a number tonight. If we say something like $5,000 or up to $5,000 over the next 6 months, that should be pretty close to what's before us now. And that's just it. If it's not, and they use it up in 3 months and it's back before us for another reason, that's fine. But I think that I appreciate the sense of urgency, and if we can do something for them, I'd like to do something for them tonight and not wait for a report, which we may not see again till next month. So I'll hold off for your response on that, and then I'd like to make a motion after that.
Councillor Julik.
I was just going to propose an amendment to the motion to just add for up to 6 months with a report back in how this is working. So that after 6 months, Councillor Norbury can say this is working fine, that staff has the opportunity to say, yeah, it's working good. And in the meantime, if we wanted to look at different options like Mayor Kakalka bringing it forward to the PRD, we have that option to do that.
Okay, seconder on the amendment. Councillor Norbury. Discussion on the amendment. Mr. Woodward, I just want to make sure staff's captured the amendment.
Okay. We captured the amendment. Have we captured the amendment?
Yes, I did, but I would like just to clarify who will report that. Councilor Norbury? And staff.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to also speak to it, please, and the CFO would like to speak to it as well.
Okay. Any more discussion? Mr. Woodward?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I think it's a fabulous idea. I think you're setting a wrong, serious precedent by supporting a society with our administrative staff. I do not think that's a good idea at all. I believe that Councillor Julik said that if you put in a financial amount as a contribution as a grant, I believe that that would qualify it, and it's beyond the boundaries of our municipal operation. Because this society is beyond that, it's in the interest of that society to either come forward to us and ask for a grant or something that's a contribution. Council can definitely look at that tonight. I don't have any problem with that, but not from administrative staff, right? That's a dangerous precedent, because if you said it for once, the other 14 societies that we work with would probably come and ask us for the same thing, and we would be negligent in saying to them, no. And I think the Chief Financial Officer also wanted to comment. Thank you.
Thank you. The comments I wanted to make is you have a fee-for-service grant policy you just put in place. While it does state within Tumbler Ridge that is a policy, it can be waived by council, and it would probably be a more appropriate avenue to go through as the fee-for-service. That is towards operating costs of an organization, a society. The other concern I would have is it depends on the position, whether it's in a job description, being a union environment, that can create some challenges with it. So trying to think outside the box, I would be recommending fee-for-service. That way it's reviewed just like all other societies. As the CIO was mentioning, you don't want to do something for one that you're not prepared to consider for all.
Thank you. So, I do have a question before I go to Councilor Norbury. So my one question was coming to staff eventually. I just wanted to get all these things. And I mean, right now we just have the amendment. My question is staffing. My understanding is if Councilor Norbury was in and talked to staff, I'm assuming it was Mr. Woodward, is there staff available if this was to go through?
Not within the environment that we have. It's a little difficult to explain, but not within the environment we have. We would have administrative staff that could provide some support to the society, but not in the environment that the municipality has, where the employee would be going out to do the work at the society's level, right? We could do it from our desk if that's an option, but I don't know. It's getting a little complicated here.
Okay.
So I don't think it's well defined enough for me to be able to comment on it. I think the simple recommendation is that if council just provides funding for that administrative support, I think that would be wonderful.
Thank you. Councilor Norbury?
Maybe I can get some clarification from Mr. Woodward. So are you saying funding for the administrative support that the district would use as like a running tally for its staff to use? Is that what we're suggesting?
Mr. Woodward?
I don't know. Can you run that question by me again?
Can you explain, can the CEO explain the process in which he's suggesting and providing funding? Are you suggesting that we provide funding to society to hire somebody, or we set aside a budgeted amount for district staff to utilize for this purpose of assisting the society?
Oh, okay, thank you. No, my recommendation is the first one, is that council put a council initiative forward with an amount to provide to the society so that they can either employ or contract someone to provide administrative support.
Follow up? Councilor Julik?
After hearing from the CAO and our CFO, I feel like I can't support the motion that's on the floor. I would definitely like for us to find a way to make this work. And it sounds like a council initiative or grant and aid or fee for service is going to be the way that we're recommended. So I wonder if we can, I'll be voting against this with the hope that we can come up with another motion that works for administration.
Thank you. Councilor Norbury?
So the staff recommendation is to add more administrative requirements on a society that is asking for administrative support. You know, I'm gonna stop there. I mean, I've had discussions beforehand. I'm surprised that this has turned about face at this moment in time. So I'll just leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more discussion in regards to the amendment? Okay, I'll call, can we have staff read it out, or I'll read it out? Do you remember what you wrote? Okay, the district of Ridge provides up to 10 hours of administrative support per month to South Peace Health Services Society. The amendment is 6 months and report back by Councilor Norbury and staff and how this is working. Correct? Okay. Call the question on that. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Any more discussion on the amended motion? I guess my comments are going to be the same in regards to earlier. I think we need a report to have the information dialogue in front of me. And Councilor Norbury, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I understand that the society and the stress that chairs and individuals as volunteers have and stuff like that. And maybe the process is a fee for service or grant and aid to process this through. And I understand what your comments were just a few minutes ago in regards to if you're asking for administrative support, how do you fill out a grant and aid or a fee for service? I think that comes to say with some of our societies in Tumbler Ridge, filling out for grants through the BC government would be the same concept. How do you fill out for a grant if that's all that's available? If I don't have staff to fill it out, that's what we're asking for. So I am a little bit in between them both, but I think a report And if it's not a report, I think there's got to be another way, because I do believe, one, in regards to what you guys are doing as a society in regards to making sure that residents in the rural part of the northern BC has places to go for family and stuff while they're in for medical reasons in Dawson Creek. I think it's a great thing that came up. It's just, how do we do it without having everybody coming in as a society looking for staffing hours to do all their administrative work? And I think that's where the concern came from staff and stuff. So I guess that would be my comments on that. Councillor Knoxand and Councillor Julik.
My concern is that if we can't do it as a district, the PRRD can't do it as a region either. So how do we support this society?
So the PRRD is a little bit different when it comes to this because of, and again, I don't want to speak on behalf of electoral directors. So I'm a director at the PRRD, not electoral director. They have different ways and different clauses within their own budgets. I'm not saying they're going to support it, but they're the ones that came forward to support in regards to this at the beginning as well. Just like the District of Tumbler Ridge when we put money forward, $30,000. So that's why I'm not saying that we don't try to find a way to help here in Tumbler Ridge from council, but it may be another option to look at, see if the PRD would also help support. And maybe it is, again, a grant and aid or fee for services where they hire their own staff member for a small amount of hours. Follow up?
In a minute.
Okay. Councillor Julik.
I don't know if it's better to do it now or afterwards, but I would just like to say that I'm willing to donate my time to the society for the next couple months while we figure this out, because I absolutely understand the overwhelming, how overwhelming it feels. And because I can't support it as it stands, I can definitely offer my time to continue going forward until we can figure out a way to make this work.
Okay, any more discussion on the amended motion? Okay, going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's defeated. Okay, moving on. Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor, and sorry for not letting this horse die, but Councillor Norby, if there was a flat sum, would it be helpful in the short term for hiring out third-party administrative support for the society for the, say, next few months?
I'll have to get back to you, Councillor Hoffman. I can appreciate the sentiments. I've been through the process of hiring a coordinator or an employee. It is a process. And we would first as a society need to come up with a job description, job posting, all these other issues that take time and manpower. So thank you.
So just on this, and I kind of agree with Councillor Hoffman, maybe we can ask staff for a report. And I'm looking for in-house administrative support. I think maybe there's some missed dialogue. I understand what you said, and then we're hearing something else. So maybe we just need to dialogue it a bit more, Councillor Norbury, and not to make it a long road. But just in regards, and to be honest, Mayor and Council also has an employee. I'm not sure if that's the realm. I'm not sure how that realm works, but I'd sure like to hear from staff and report on that. For administration support to that society until for short term. I'm not sure if it's worth a report in your thoughts. If you want to let it be for a bit. Okay, we're going to move on. 10.3 asphalt replacement policy. Notice of motion brought forward by Mayor Kakalka at the October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting. The recommendation is that staff bring forward the asphalt replacement policy. Seconder, Councillor Dussault. Discussion. So previously, we've had to put. Previously, we put the suspension of the asphalt replacement policy on hold. What I'm asking for now is staff to bring forward in regards to our budget discussions. So I think we've held off for 5 years, it might even be 6 now, in regards to some of the replacements of asphalt within our community. And I think council should be looking forward and moving that forward. That's why I'm asking for it to be brought forward. Any discussion from council? Call the question. All in favor? carried. Council Business, Council Norbury, and Council Noxana, thank you. Any other councilors' business from the floor? Councillor Dussault.
Yes, I was inquiring why my reports hadn't been put through to the agenda, and I guess through my fault, I did not include one person on that email, so my apologies to staff and council, but I did send it all out to staff and council via email, so I hope everyone received that.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. One thing I want to thank Minister of Transportation and the regional out of Dawson Creek Minister of Transportation for the great ditch clearing on Highway 52 North. I think they did an amazing job out there. Looks great. I think it's going to be great for the winter for safety of our residents leaving early mornings or coming back late at night. So I just want to thank them. I plan on sending a letter from the mayor's office to thank them as well, because I think it's important that we thank them and appreciate them. But the same aspect, this is one of the things that went down to Victoria in April, so I thank council for that as well. I had the opportunity to be able to meet with the Minister of Transportation, who set that meeting up with Mr. Woodward and myself and Deputy Corporate side of that meeting, and that was our ask, is not just to do 20 kilometers in 2023, but to do the rest of Highway 52, in which they did. So I think it's great that they were able to finish that off for us. The other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, but I attended the Dawson Creek game, the Dawson Creek Canuck game here in Tumble Ridge. I think, again, hats off to our residents and Dawson Creek Minor Hockey for bringing that group here. I think parents seem to enjoy themselves, the teams seem to enjoy themselves. I know our residents seem to enjoy that hockey. So again, thanks, and I know staff had some into that too, making sure we had ice available. So I think it's great when we can have that opportunity. So, Councillor Julik.
I just wanted to say, as you were sending kudos out to Argo, that I just wanted to mention they spent a lot of time out on the Canusa Falls Road this summer as well and did a lot of work out there, and it was nice to see some gravel added and just some work done there. So thank you.
You bet. Anything else for business off the floor? Okay. Any questions via email, Mr. Woodward?
None, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Resolution to close meeting. Take the recommendation, please. Okay, all right. That the October 16th, 2023 regular council meeting be closed to the public according to section 91C and J of the Community Charter to permit discussion about labor relations and other employee relations. And J, information that is prohibited or information that if it were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Seconder, Councillor Julik, all in favor? Carried. 5-minute recess.